Prince of Peace in a world addicted to war. Peace terrifies a mind that still believes attack is salvation. A world built on conflict cannot recognize peace when it appears. So when the figure of Jesus is called the Prince of Peace, yet his name is used to justify outrage, division, and punishment, the contradiction is not about him. It is a diagnostic screen for the mind that is looking. Peace is not a mood. It is the state that remains when the belief in separate interests dissolves. No my will versus your will. No private agenda with a hidden ledger of wins and losses. Peace is ontological, like gravity for the soul. It is the natural pull back into unity once the fantasy of a separate me begins to crack. A mind that knows peace does not become passive. It becomes unopposed. Nothing is outside it, so nothing needs defense. This is why the symbol of Jesus had to be called the Prince of Peace. Not for spiritual hierarchy, but because peace is the leading edge of a healed mind. Peace is the first domino. Once it falls, every illusion tied to conflict begins collapsing on its own. If peace is the foundation, forgiveness is the architecture. If peace is the foundation, fear cannot find a foothold. If peace is the foundation, guilt has nothing to cling to. But the ego cannot tolerate this. The ego's entire operating system rests on three corrupted files. Separation is real, someone is guilty, and salvation requires attack. A peaceful presence deletes all three at once. So the ego rewrites the symbol. It invents a war general Jesus, a tribal Jesus, a judgmental Jesus, a savior that mirrors its own paranoia. Anything but the Prince of Peace, because peace is fatal to ego identity. Peace is kryptonite to the belief that attack protects. Peace is malware to the ego's firewall. This is why a peaceful Jesus becomes threatening. The moment peace is taken seriously, the ego's entire justification for fear evaporates. A peaceful presence does not need defenders. Defense is always attack wearing a polite fragrance. And attack is always a confession that peace is still feared. The loudest defenders of Jesus often reveal the deepest fear of what he represents. Because if peace is real, the separate self cannot be. If peace is real, the sin narrative collapses. If peace is real, punishment becomes meaningless theater. Peace ends the world of conflict by exposing it as a dream. But this needs metaphors the modern mind understands. Think of peace like airplane turbulence. Passengers grip the armrests as if fear could stabilize the plane, but the turbulence was never in their control. The ego grabs for control in the same way. White-knuckled, convinced chaos will stop if it tightens its grip. Peace is the shift from gripping the seat to realizing the plane flies regardless of fear. Or consider peace like noise-canceling headphones. The world around may be loud, aggressive, and full of static, but the inner mechanism cancels the external waves by generating a matching inner frequency. The ego tries to fix the noise by rearranging the outside world. Peace quiets it by changing the inside. Peace is also the unlocked phone no one checks. Most people scroll endlessly, fearing missing out on a crisis, a rumor, a headline. Peace is the moment the phone is face down and nothing is lost. Because nothing real was ever happening on the screen. Or think of peace as the algorithm behind a social feed. If the mind is tuned to grievance, the world suggests more grievance. If the mind shifts into peace, the feed reorganizes, not because the world changed, but because the receiver stopped demanding conflict. The Prince of Peace is the reminder that the algorithm of reality is unity, not attack. Peace is also the unwatched pot on a stove that cooks itself. The ego keeps lifting the lid, convinced something will go wrong if it stops monitoring. Peace is the recognition that reality does not need supervision. Peace is the collapse of micromanaging God. The name Prince of Peace becomes a mirror rather than a title. If peace is still feared, it will be interpreted as weakness. If specialness is still worshipped, peace will be interpreted as betrayal. If attack is still believed, peace will be interpreted as delusion. The symbol is never the issue. The issue is the interpreter. Peace demands surrender of the identity that survives by conflict. It demands the end of the me against the world mythology. It demands the recognition that enemies are hallucinations that stabilize a fragile self-image. This is why peace feels dangerous to an unhealed mind. It dissolves only illusions, but illusions often feel like lifelines. To see Jesus as the Prince of Peace is to confront the possibility that nothing needs to be fought, fixed, or feared. It ends the myth of earning salvation. It ends the fantasy of divine punishment. It ends the belief that truth requires an army. The Prince of Peace reveals that salvation is not a battle won, but a dream undone. Peace is not the aftermath of conflict. It is the exposure that conflict never existed. Seen clearly, the title is not religious decor. It is metaphysical instruction. Begin with peace and the world reorganizes around sanity. Begin with attack, and even holy symbols turn into weapons. The Prince of Peace is the final reminder. Reality has never been divided. Conflict was only a story the mind told itself. And when the story fades, peace is what remains.